We absolutely must go over a bizarre and embarrassing interview given yesterday to Fox News by former President Donald Trump. And it was humiliating and embarrassing, not just for Trump, but also for Fox News, which in the middle of the interview falsely reported the resignation of Joe Biden's Secretary of Homeland Security. They just reported it in the middle of the interview with Trump, then had to walk it back after Trump had already reacted to it. So let's get into it. Donald Trump kicked the interview off with really similar rhetoric about immigrants to that of his infamous 2015 speech about Mexicans. A lot of this vocabulary will probably sound familiar to you.
Bringing the violence to our country, because many of the people coming are not nonviolent people. They're violent people. Many of the people coming. These countries don't send out their finest. And in some cases, I'm sure you have wonderful, fine people, but you also have criminals. You have murderers, you have sex traffickers, you have a lot of very bad people coming into our country.
The theme in this interview was Trump saying ridiculous things with no pushback whatsoever from interviewer Harris Faulkner. Here's another example where, again, Donald Trump continues to say he actually won, not Joe Biden. Harris Faulkner just accepts it. No big deal.
Policies, and even, look, we won the election as far as I'm concerned. We had a great election. We got almost 75 million votes, but we were going to make it even more stringent with the understanding that we want people to come into our country, but they have to come in legally. Very simple.
So let me ask you this. I want to get back a moment and revisit the COVID-19, because that
just no pushback at all from Faulkner, despite the fact that Donald Trump is saying something completely, verifiably, empirically untrue. She just moves on. Then Donald Trump makes false claims about Joe Biden's policy at the border. Again, no pushback from Harris Faulkner whatsoever.
Oh, I mean, it was just announced they're allowing everybody to walk through and just come in, and they're not taking anything. They have no information about the people.
And then we get to arguably the most surreal moment of the interview, other than when Trump said, "I don't know why I'm here. You really called me." We'll get to that. Harris Faulkner interrupts and falsely reports live on air that the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, has resigned. Trump says, well, I'm not surprised to hear that because things are so bad at the border. And then Harris Faulkner says, oh, that actually didn't happen. Take a look at this.
Because it's just happened now, and I want to double check this with our producers. The DHS Secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas, has resigned, Mr. President.
Well, I'm not surprised. Good. That's a big victory for our country.
Hold on. Let me stop. Let me listen to my team one more time. Forgive me. That has not happened. But and I apologize, listening to the team and you.
Cross off
but
that victory.
I know that you.
Where do they even get that? Literal fake news being reported live on Fox News. And maybe that warrants more discussion on its own. Trump then hilariously says Joe Biden isn't being transparent.
What do you say about the transparency with the current administration?
Well, there is none. There is none.
Remember, Trump promised his tax returns 6 years ago, never released them. Trump promised to drain the swamp. He didn't. Trump lied about what he privately knew about COVID. I could go on and on and on. But Trump says Biden isn't being transparent. And then Donald Trump is asked, why are you choosing to weigh in so strongly? And he just sort of says, I don't know. You guys called me, really.
Most presidents, ex-presidents like yourself, do not weigh in at this level. Why did you feel like you needed to on this issue?
Well, you called me. I didn't call you, in all fairness. But the reason I weigh in is very simple.
You wrote the statement last night. It was pretty strong.
I wrote a statement. I put out a statement.
So an irritated sounding Trump there, always just so strange. And then Donald Trump starts to wrap up the interview by saying that China is, quote, looking at woke. That's pretty unusual terminology. China's looking at woke. And then he says, I don't know, something about Dr. Seuss.
Which nobody has ever seen before. In order to accomplish the Green New Deal nonsense, They're destroying it with woke. When China looks at woke and they see the biggest problem we have is Dr. Seuss, in the meantime, they're building factories and trying to kill us in so many different ways. They laugh at us. They think we're so... Frankly, they think our country is stupid when they look at this, when our competitors look at what's going on in our country, taking down the statues to great heroes and so many other things. Now, I do it because I want to do what's right, and they are destroying our country.
Isn't that truly something? China is going to be building factories and trying to kill us. So Donald Trump trying to rehab his greatest hits, essentially, while at the same time telling more lies mixed in with a false resignation report from Fox News in the middle of it, having to almost immediately be walked back. I mean, this is the epitome of the Trump interview. Trump won't stop lying. Interviewer won't question any of the lies, but reports her own literal fake news in the middle of the interview. We'll have more on this interview because it was so wacky and wide-ranging. On the David Pakman Show Instagram. You can find us there at David Pakman Show. A lot of the shirts you see me wearing on YouTube are actually made by a company called Teddy Stratford. I love these shirts, and that's why I asked them to be a sponsor of the show. It really is the most innovative shirt you can buy because most slim fit button-up shirts give you this weird stretched out gap in the chest where the buttons are. You don't get that with the Teddy Stratford shirts because all of their shirts come with a patented zipper hidden beneath the buttons, which prevents the chest from stretching apart like that. But most importantly, just overall, it makes the shirt fit much better and look better. The carefully designed shirt is also cut in a way that improves the look of your upper body physique. It has a really nice, elegant, close fit that other shirts don't really give you. It also has a specially designed collar that won't fall down and lay flat, which I love. The difference all around with these shirts really is noticeable. Go check them out at davidpakman.com/Teddy. The link is down below and they'll give you 15% off your first order if you use the coupon code Pakman at checkout.